Hello folks, this is Freedom Fighter. Today is Monday, July the 22nd, 2024. I just had my morning brief with Goldilocks to go over these two articles that we're going to share with you today. And as we all know, Goldilocks is the premier standard for information related to the global currency reset. There are many people from around the world that tune in to read what Goldilocks is posting to have an idea of what's transpiring with the global currency reset. People from around the world, literally, globally, tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing to give them an idea of where we are. Why? Because Goldilocks is literally the standard. The two articles that Goldilocks is sharing this morning, one is going to be from the Financial Markets Standards Board, which is the global standards body that actually banks and exchanges, pension funds, financial institutions from around the world fall up under the umbrella of the Financial Markets Standard Board. And we are going to touch on briefly of a standard that has been set for the new digital banking system, and then also a rule or a standard that has been set by the Department of Treasury and IRS. Let's jump right into it. The Financial Markets Standards Board, which is a global standards body for wholesale financial markets. Remember, banks, foreign currency exchanges fall up under this standard. They represent all parts of the financial industry, which are banks, asset managers, regulators, which are ruling bodies, exchanges, investment institutions, infrastructure providers, corporates such as our corporations, pension funds, and interdealer brokers. The FMSB, or the Financial Markets Standards Board, recently drafted a standard for sharing standard settlement instructions to be used globally. Remember, the standard is just like we know, sets a certain standard, which is the creme de la creme, the top, and for everything else to follow behind it. Settlement. A settlement, let's get right into it in layman's terms. You have your IQD, and you go into the bank to exchange your IQD. What are you exchanging it for? U.S. dollars here in the States. When that transaction is done, it's considered to be settled. That's a settlement. When you have both sides of the transaction, meaning the IQD side of you going into the bank to exchange and receiving your receipt showing that it's been settled in US dollars, the transaction is settled, and instantly it will be settled. So when we have the Financial Market Standards Board recently drafted a standard for the sharing standard settlement instructions, meaning there's a certain rules and guidelines. So the standard settlement instructions will be used globally. The draft standard is expected to increase the adoption of electronic solutions for sharing standard settlement instructions, or otherwise known as SSI. No, not the SSI that we have here in the States. It's the standard settlement instructions, a different form of SSI. So SSI, the standard settlement instructions, is instructions for which key information remains the same from one settlement to another, or one side of a settlement transaction to another side of a transaction, i.e. through banks, foreign currency exchanges, and trade transactions. Again, to remind you, this is a global standard for all countries and their banking systems from which their currencies are or through their banking system, through their central banks. We have those currencies. This is a standard that they all fall under, a global standard for the settlement of transactions. Or these are instructions. So we want you to see how through this new global standard and the next to follow that we're going to share by Goldilocks for the Department of Treasury and the IRS, we see the pieces of the puzzle, very important, that are being completed within the new digital banking system, which otherwise known as the quantum financial system. Let's go right to the next one. Broker reporting announcement. Goldilocks shares rules governing digital asset broker reporting are now complete. Digital assets. Why is this important to us? You may say, if you may only have paper currencies, you may not even care about digital assets. Well, we're moving into a new digital banking system, which these paper currencies we have will be converted into digital assets and into the new digital banking system. So it is important to you. It is important to us. It is relevant. Rules governing the digital asset broker reporting are now complete. Yes, indeed, our paper currencies, even if that's all you may have, this is related to, the digital asset is related to those, to your Dong, to your IQD, your Boulevard, and whatever paper currencies you have. It's relevant. Goldilocks continues. The U.S. Department of the Treasury and the IRS published final regulations on digital asset broker reporting that make some welcome changes to the proposed regulations. Now, I'm going to pause and make this statement for you to understand. If there are two sides of a story. In this instance, there's two sides of a tax story, whether or not taxes will be, whether our exchanges will be taxed. Well, Goldilocks has shared several articles directly from the IRS as it pertains to the reporting of our exchanges. We're going to touch on a little bit of that here, because one side you have maybe some who are telling you that there will be no taxes on the exchanges. Okay, what I encourage you to do is ask for proof from both sides. If one side is telling you that there will be no taxes on your exchanges, say, please, sir, ma'am, can you provide me with the proof showing that? If someone is sharing with you that there will be taxes on your exchanges, same thing. Sir, ma'am, can you please show me proof? Why is that important? So that you are prepared and not caught off guard. To have a plan. Again, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. We encourage you not to fail. Do not be the one that is not prepared. This is a momentous occasion, never to come before you again. Don't be the one to fail. Someone told me a long time ago, FAIL, F-A-I-L, stands for first attempt in learning. This may be the first and last time you have this opportunity. Make sure you're prepared. I'm going to go right into it from Goldilocks. The U.S. Department of the Treasury and the IRS published final regulations, meaning something's been complete, folks, on the digital asset broker reporting that make some welcome changes to the proposed regulations. The final regulations generally are effective for 2025 sales of digital assets and basis. Tax reporting generally is effective for 2026 sales of digital assets. This is in regards to assets, the digital assets sold. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to tax reporting, if this is effective in 2025, just like if you to go file your taxes in 2025, for what year would your income or your gains have occurred? The year before? So if it's 2025, it's effective. What year is it expected for you to have a gain? Okay, I just want to put that question out there. You know the answer. Final regulations include exceptions to the definition of brokers, exceptions to the digital asset transaction subject to reporting, de minimis thresholds in aggregate reporting, duplicate reporting, information reported, foreign brokers and customers, determination of gain and loss, and basis of digital assets. Goldilocks continues. While the first form's 1099-DA, digital asset proceeds from broker transactions are not required to be filed until 2026, brokers must track covered transactions and capture necessary information for transactions occurring on or after January the 1st, 2025, which is only a few months away from now. Notice 2024-56 and Notice 2024-57 provide penalty and transition relief. However, they do not eliminate the need to begin putting procedures in place and obtaining information from participants in digital asset transactions. Folks, when you go into exchange your paper currency in the new digital asset banking system, those paper currencies convert to digital assets. We'll continue. What this tells us, Goldilocks says, is the QFS is expected to be complete by the end of this year, or they would not be doing the process of reporting and taxation starting the first day of 2025, which is January 1st, 2025. What year would expected gains be potentially considered? Think about that. Money velocity, or the movement, is the movement of money, and its demand for payments will call forth new price points because of it. So thinking of new prices because of it. As we move into the beginning of next year, the local currencies around the world that are now being traded will begin to formulate new price determinations that can be solidified inside the new digital system. So, between now and then, we can begin to witness the process of credit valuation adjustments on these tokenized assets and our paper money, that it will support them. That it will support what? The credit valuation adjustments, the adjustments of values on assets. The transition between paper money to digital asset payment systems will bring in mass adoption, as the movement of money based on digital transactions will be validated based on use case scenarios and real world values. Well, real world values, meaning when precious metals such as gold and silver and other assets move in from their formerly manipulated values to their real values going up, those are real world values. Paper currencies that have been the same, manipulated and held down for so many years, move to their real values, real world values. Digital currencies moving up or to their real world values. Now, some, just so we got to set the tone and the context, real world values doesn't always mean up. It could be same or move down, very minimal. Yes, banks can be foreign exchange brokers or broker dealers, and they are major participants in the foreign exchange market. Banks trade currencies for their own accounts and on behalf of clients, such as multinational corporations and institutional investors. Banks act as a channel for their clients to participate in the market. Also, banks act as a channel for clients to participate in foreign currency exchanges, ladies and gentlemen. When you exchange your money with a bank, I'm going to repeat that again. When you exchange your dinar, your dong, your bolivar with a bank, or whatever currency, with a bank, don't be surprised if you don't receive a 1099-DA form at the beginning of 2026 from them. Whether you utilize paper money or digital assets for payments in 2025, both will be utilizing the new quantum financial system to process everything. Again, as a reminder for those who your minds may be racing because you see a date of 2025 for digital asset payments, taxes. What year must there be movement and gains in order to be ready for 2025? A great deal of pressure will be applied on the banking system to bring forth this new economy. This is where artificial intelligence will come into play on a much larger scale to process these transactions. Much of the burden will be on brokers, which are banks, ladies and gentlemen, in disseminating tax forms and processing going forward. Goldilocks shares 2 links that you can click on and read for yourself on the new asset broker reporting rules that are now finalized and complete in conjunction with the IRS and the U.S. Treasury. And don't forget, the U.S. Treasury is from which the new banking system will be governed by and our exchanges will be in. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. We love you. Open your minds, your heart. You have questions, please feel free to come into the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. where we will answer questions and break down these articles by Goldilocks. And please feel free to jump on into Goldilocks room to get the standard, the global standard to understand the global currency reset. And that's the Goldilocks QFS Conversations, the official page. Show someone some love, unconditional love, and we hope you receive the same from someone else. Be well. Ciao.